they both belong. Join the conference, it's gonna be lit. Curipod fam, you don't wanna miss it. In this digital age, we've got them online. No need to travel, no waiting in line. From the comfort of home, our passion tastes like. Trade big dividers, but our heart bars are right. Can't attend live, don't let it dismay. Plays on the way, just a click, no delay. Curicon, the future's awesome. We're writing teaching, they both belong. Join the conference, it's gonna be lit. Curipod fam, you don't wanna miss it. So spread the word, let the excitement unfold. Curicon's the place for teachers, it's all one. In the realm of life, together we'll find. Our Curicon, let make the future come alive. Awesome. We're writing GG, they both belong.
Welcome back to day 5, our finale day of Curicon. Get ready to embrace the future of teaching in our fast-paced world. In this session, we're diving into the art of turning breaking news into engaging lesson plans with the help of artificial intelligence. I can't wait to introduce you to Michael Fricano, our guide from Hawaii, as he unravels the transformative potential of AI in the classroom. In this session, you're going to discover how artificial intelligence can be your ally, dissecting news stories and crafting them into tailored lesson plans within 5 minutes or less. Say goodbye to the days of hours spent researching. AI is here to make your lesson planning efficient and effective. Without further ado, I'm going to bring him up because we're historically running about 10 minutes late on each session, giving you the opportunity to jump in. So, Michael, welcome.
Hey, aloha. I'll try to see if we can get us back on track here. We'll see. Thanks for having me, Amanda and Curipod.
No, thank you. You are definitely a trailblazer in education. I've seen all of your work in the AR/VR space, and just the things you're doing and the innovation that you're cultivating in your schools in Hawaii is phenomenal. So having you on was a no-brainer, and I can't wait to explore the session with you.
Awesome. Well, yeah, great. I appreciate you saying those things. I'm really excited to be here. And I, by no means, am an expert on any of these things. I'm just a teacher that loves trying new things and exploring new technologies, and AI is definitely one of them. And if it can help us to make things easier and more efficient, I'm definitely for that. So I'm going to share some ways that I've been exploring the use of AI for my students, and hopefully you'll take some things away. Yeah, hello, hi from Hawaii. Yes, I live on the island of Oahu. I teach at a K-12 private school in Honolulu, and I serve as a K through 6th grade design and technology teacher. So I teach basically in a makerspace, but we teach all things robotics and coding and 3D design, laser cutting, 3D printing, all kinds of fun stuff. And I've just been kind of diving into how I can use AI as a teacher, but how I can get my students to use AI in a variety of ways for my class, and then supporting the teachers that are at my school as well. So my session here, I'm exploring how we can take, specifically here, although you could take this concept and apply it to pretty much anything in our classroom, but taking headlines, taking news articles, and turning them into lessons very quickly through the use of artificial intelligence, as we call it, from headlines to classrooms. And our agenda. So what I'd like to try to cover today
and Michael,
is one.
really quick,
oh yeah,
I'm gonna pop down. Feel free to go a little over, guys.
Okay.
If you're viewing, stick with us. Once the session ends, we'll start the next one. So don't worry about FOMO, because we're trying to time it for you so we can have a nice transition.
You won't miss out. Oh, and before I move on here, really quick, if you look at the corner of the slide deck, as well as below my name here, that link there is my professional website, and the slide deck and all the links and resources that I'm going to share and demonstrate today are linked up in this website. Maybe we can throw it in the chat if Amanda can take care of that for us. But the website looks like this. And you've got the slide deck. My slide deck is in Curipod, obviously, because I'm going to use some of the amazing tools built in. But I have links to the actual Curipod slide deck as well as the other tools and resources I'll be sharing. So feel free to follow along with me in the slides if you want, and bookmark the website for future reference. Thanks for putting in the chat. I appreciate it. Okay, so what I want to cover the time that we have is just briefly take a look at some really interesting ways that how AI is playing a role in education. You're probably aware of most, if not all, of the roles that are shared, but maybe it'll spark some thinking and some ideas within you. And then I want to go through this step-by-step demonstration of how I'm taking news articles related to the things that we're studying in my design and technology class and turning them into lessons for my students, and turning them into interactive experiences for my students through the use of Curipod as well. So I'll demonstrate that. And then, of course, when we're talking about news, it's always important to factor in media literacy, right? Helping not only I as the teacher to keep track of the information that I'm choosing to share with my students, but helping my students understand the importance of understanding bias and opinion and fact. Those kinds of things are really important when we're diving into this information and where those resources are coming from. And AI can play a really great and powerful role in media literacy specifically. And then share how I take this experience into Curipod, and then of course incorporate some of the great interactive experiences that Curipod offers to its tools and features. And then we'll end with any Q&A that you might have when we wrap this up. So really quick, just a couple of ways I've seen AI playing a role in education. So one is definitely personalized learning, right? So being able to tailor the content that we're using as teachers to our students as individuals, basing on many different factors, right? Learning styles, reading levels, those all the things we have to consider and how we design curriculum for our students. AI can play a really important role in that. There's been some really great ideas shared over this past week, and what's being shared online as well. Another role that AI is playing is being able to automate tasks, right? So we can give AI the role of handling some really mundane routines, like being able to grade a formative assessment, providing feedback to all the students that we service, being able to analyze student work for us, and pinpointing certain things that those students need to be able to work on to really make things more efficient for us and automate a lot of that work that we spend so much time on, right? As teachers, time is always our enemy. We're always battling with finding enough time to do all the things that we want to do and that we need to do. Another role that AI has been playing is tutoring and support, right? Finding ways for AI to provide one-on-one personalized support for our students, and doing so outside of the classroom, so that they have more help through the use of AI than just with the teacher in the physical space. And then the last one is data analysis and insights. So being able to feed it large amounts of data about our students or about our schools, and asking it to analyze that data and find things that even we may not have noticed, because we're only human. I can't process that much information, but AI can definitely do that for us. So some really interesting ways that we're seeing AI starting to be used in classrooms and in schools, whether it's with teachers, administration, or connecting it directly to our students. So great things to explore once Curicon is over, and we've got lots of great ideas to look at. Okay. So what I want to do really quick is just I want to get a kind of gauge where you're at with AI. So how have you used AI recently in your life? It doesn't have to be professionally; it can be personally too. Just really curious to see how AI is impacting us individually in our everyday lives. So I'm going to kick this Curipod, get this started here. So if you want to join Curi.live, I think if you've been tuning in to Curicon all week, I think you've got lots of practice with this. But the pin is there. We got one person in. 909871 is the pin. We'll just wait another minute. We've got jumping iPhone, friendly actor, creative walk. I love the random names that Curipod gives participants. It's fun to just read through them. I know when I've used it with my students, they get a kick out of the names. They try to figure out who each other are. Creative fish, happy Android. Let's wait a couple more seconds. You can always join at any point in the broadcast today. Happy Android. All right. Okay, I'm gonna click play here to get the first question started. So just 1 minute. There we go. 1 minute to respond. Open-ended question. How have you used AI recently in your life? And again, it doesn't have to be professionally. Doesn't have to be school related. Just in general. Let's see what kinds of responses we get. We got someone joining us from Jamaica. My brother's also a private school teacher. Oh, really? That's awesome. I might know him. I teach at Iolani School. But other private schools we have here are Punahou, Mid Pacific. We have quite a few smaller private schools here within town. About 15 seconds here. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Got someone from Argentina. Hi, Stella. All right, let's take a look at the result. Let's see how are we using AI right now? So I'm using AI for my electives class. Great. Overcome writer's block. I see someone was sharing about that in an earlier session. Helping to overcome. I think that was John Curipod was talking a little bit about that. I knew, but I did use it to help my tutor student. Great, that's awesome for work. Definitely, if it can make work easier, all the more to you. And lesson plans, how to write a response to my evaluation. Use ChatGPT to create a demo video for the teachers at our 30 schools. Holy cow, that's quite a lot of support. Awesome, so great, yeah, great ideas, great ways of using AI. Let's see where all the different levels. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so the process that I'm going to share with you for going from headline to lesson really is basically taking could be breaking news, could be a news article related to the content, and then transforming it into an interactive lesson in as little time as possible. Now, the faster you go through the process, that can determine quality, right? So it might require a little bit of tweaking and adjusting to really tailor it to your specific class. But it's a great way to get things started, to get the ball rolling in designing something for your next class. And the idea here is being able to extract an article. It could be from an e-textbook or even from a textbook, right? You could take a picture and definitely transform that into a text-based document, and then or even pulling information from a website. And then taking that and generating slides, right? Taking an article and turning it into a slide deck. That might make it easier for students to understand, to process, give it visuals, and then using AI to help you craft that lesson and come up with new, interesting activities or ideas for how you might turn that article into a lesson for your students. And then, of course, being able to curify those slides or that lesson, right? Turning it into something interactive that students can participate in and learn from with each other. And so we'll dive into this process. I kind of want to demonstrate it for you and see what we come up with. If you want me to try, what I like to do is try something that you're interested in crafting into a lesson. If you have a news article that relates to your curriculum or your content area, maybe something that's coming up soon, feel free to toss it in the chat. And I'll see if we can pull that article and craft something out of it live in our in the session. Okay, but I do have one that I've pulled just in case. But if you have something interesting you want me to try, I'm willing to give that a try as well. So again, if you have anything, toss it in the comments. Any breaking news, something that's school appropriate for whatever age age or grade you teach. For me though, I'll kind of talk a little bit about where I'm coming from. In my K to 6 design and technology class, we connect a lot of the projects that we create in this space to climate action, and specifically the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Um, and what's really cool about what the UN has created is they've attached those goals to these climate action superheroes. So it's a really fun, engaging way to help our younger learners find interest and find a connection with these bigger problems that the world faces. So we use the Sustainable Development Goals and the climate action superheroes in a variety of projects that we teach. And so a part of that is helping students sift through the research and the studies and the news articles that talk about the problems that our world faces, both globally and locally, in order to apply that information to the project that they're creating. And so, news articles related to this topic is really important here. It's where they can get the facts as well as the opinions and the problems that have existed or are being created. And so one specific article that I found that we use through with one of our projects is a United Nations news article, and it's one called "First Person: Farmers Running Out of Water in Punjab, India." Right, so it's focused on the water shortages that they face because of climate issues, and what they're doing to solve those problems. And so, for my class, I want to be able to take them through an example of what they should be able to extract from this news and information so that they can use it in the project that they're working on. So we'll take a news article as an example and think about what information we can pull from it and what we can use, right? So this is an example of a news article that I've used with my students, right? And I want to be able to turn it into a lesson, right? What can we take from this article? But also not just specifically the information in the article, but if we think about media literacy, what can we gain from studying an article like this? And is it sharing fact? Is it sharing opinion? Who's writing it? Who is the source? So thinking about those things too, that are going to help set students up for success when it's their turn to conduct the research and find other news and information online that they can use in their project. Okay? So what I usually start with is taking a news article like this and extracting it so that we don't get all the extra stuff. Sometimes there's advertisements or links to other things. Extracting it and putting it in a Google document. So I'll try to clean it up, take out the images, just pull out the text, make it really nice and clean for AI so that it doesn't get too distracted with all the extra stuff. So I've got it in a document here, right? So it takes a little extra time cleaning up the information. And then I can take that document. So you could copy it directly from the source, of course, but again, what I've done is I've copy and pasted the article into a Google Doc and cleaned it up, taken out all the extra stuff. Okay. Sorry, got distractions in my lab. Okay, so once we find an article, we want to craft it into a lesson. Wait for this to load. There we go. Then the next step might be, although it doesn't necessarily have to be, generating slides. So taking that news article, crafting it into a slide deck that kind of breaks up the information, applies visuals. And one app that I love to use, that I've had a lot of fun with in crafting and using AI to craft slides, is this app called Gamma.app. And let me know in the chat if you've heard of this before, if you haven't. If you haven't, I'm gonna blow your mind with this. It's a really, really great app. It's what we call a freemium app. So you could use it for free. They use what are called, I think, tokens or something. So you can create some slide decks for free, and they cost a certain amount of tokens. And then if you want to do more with it, there's a pro version and all that. But I've been able to do a handful of things with the free version of this. So what I do is I'm going to backtrack here. This is my final example. I'm going to create something new. Now, you can generate slides in Gamma with a topic. Just give it like a brief statement, ask it for something specific, and it'll do its best to generate a slide deck or other things based on that. But what I use is the text transform. So I can paste in like an entire document or import an entire document and have it craft a slide deck based on that information. So with text transform, you do two things. Okay, so you give it instructions. This is almost like how you would prompt like Chat GPT, right? So what do you want it to do? And then down below is where you would add or paste in the actual content that you wanted to pull from. Okay, so for example, in my slide here, I kind of demonstrate what that looks like. So here, when I took the news article, I crafted my prompt, gave it my instructions, and then pasted the information from that Google Doc. So just highlighted it, copied, and pasted it into the content area down here. And the prompt that I gave it for this specific lesson, I asked it, to create slides for my grade 5 students, right? The more specific you are with the prompt, the more of a role that you attach to it, the better output you get, right? The grade 5 student, based on information from this article about water shortages in India, I wanted to focus the slides to be about how climate change is causing these shortages and the possible solutions, right? Yeah, all about the prompt. And I'm going to share a really great resource for that might help with prompting, because it's always all about the prompt. That's the prompt I gave it, copied and pasted. And then you notice on the left, you can actually choose a format. We're talking about a presentation here, but you could definitely export. It could create a document based on that information, or even a web page. Gamma creates web pages as well. You can choose. You can choose when. You can choose how many slides you want it to be. Right. So all the way from 4 slides, if you want to make it short and sweet, or all the way up to 12 slides. You can always add in more later. I'm going to try to go with like 6 slides. And then you can ask it what kinds of images you want it to include in the slides. So I stick with the free to use, the images that are licensed for personal use, like a school project, of course. And then I'm not in Pro, so I can't use the large Pro feature. So I'm going to stick with standard. And then in order to generate this, like I mentioned earlier, it uses credits. I think I said tokens earlier. But to craft this slide deck, it'll cost me 40 credits, and I have a total of 190 credits currently. I can't remember how many it starts with, like 300 or 400 credits. I think you get for free. Okay, but I've already created one, so I don't want to waste my credits here. So here I've done this already. And then this is the slide deck that it produced for me. I haven't changed or edited anything on the slide deck yet, but it gives me, this is the slide 1, pulled an image related to the content, gives me, incorporated the title, gave me a synopsis, and then the next slide focuses on water scarcity challenges for farmers. So what are those challenges they face? It gave me 2 main challenges there, relying on groundwater, depleting groundwater levels. And then the third slide is personal experiences of water scarcity. So what's really cool is that from the article, it pulled the 3 people that article references, and then gave information about what that person shared in the article, right? So it's taking all that text and kind of breaking it up into chunks. Might be a lot easier for my students to digest and understand. So I really appreciated that, kind of showing me the 3 perspectives of the 3 farmers. And then crafted a cool little a graphic for possible solutions to saving rainwater, integrating water management, incentives for crop diversification. And of course, this is always editable. You can always add more information, take away information. So it's a fully editable slide deck once it's created for you. And then a slide about the role of climate change, a very brief sentence there. And then it ends it with a collective effort for change, right? So things that what we could do to help support, right? Unity in action, government support. So again, just giving that article and giving it a focus, saying this is what I want the slide deck to focus on using this information, I was able to craft a very simple 6-slide presentation for me. And of course, as you saw earlier, I can make that. I could have told it to do 10 slides. It would have maybe given me more information or spread the information out a little bit. And then again, it's fully editable afterwards, right? So Gamma is a really great tool for crafting really gorgeous, visually appealing slides that I can adjust if I need to. But when I'm done with it, I can export it, right? So there is an option. I can share this publicly. I have a link to this specific slide deck in my website there. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna try to shut off that music. 1 second, guys. Or the sound.
Hey, Michael, we can't hear you at all now.
Okay, sorry. I was just telling someone in my lab to stop sanding. Sorry about that, guys. Does it sound better now? Can't hear the background noise? Okay. My apologies. This lab is very active. There's always things going on. So I was able to cut that down. Hopefully it sounds a little better. My apologies about that. Okay. So yeah, so you can export this, right? You can export it as a PDF or as a PowerPoint. And then, so I exported it as a PDF. I could do that now, actually. And then once I export it, I can then pull it into to Curipod, right? To move on to the next step. Something else you might want to consider is, you don't necessarily have to take the article and turn it into slides. You might want to take the article and turn it into a lesson first, and then take the lesson and put it into Gamma to craft the slides. So there's a different approach to it. It depends on what you ultimately want in the end. Okay. Okay, so I've got my PDF here. We'll move on here. Okay, so yeah, so before we move on, I'm curious from the audience, what if you were to create a lesson around an article of your choice, what are some specific activities you'd want from a lesson? What are some things that your students might enjoy in your class, or activities that you've tried that might help engage them in that lesson with that particular article? So I'm going to start this up. I'm just curious what activities you like to use in your class that might help you prompt the AI to incorporate these activities. Okay, and again, if you want to, it's at the top there, Curie.live. You want to join in. Sorry. Let's see what I'm curious. Again, I'm curious what ideas you might have. Because when you want to ask AI for a lesson, it's always good to give it some ideas. It'll come up with some good ideas on its own, but maybe there's something that you really enjoy doing with your students that you want to incorporate into that lesson, but you're not sure what else to do with that particular article. Yeah, sorry about that, Ken. Thanks, appreciate it. It was actually a sander. We're doing some laser cutting and sanding in the background. I apologize. Oh, we didn't get any responses. That's okay. Oh, we got one. Ooh. We got one. Oh, we're voting. I forgot I turned voting on for this one. Just skip. Visual learning. Okay. That's an interesting idea. Like visually using visuals to understand the learning, or applying visuals to the article, or allowing students to come up with their own visuals based on what they've learned. Interesting idea. Okay, so for me, the next step, I take the article, I turn it into a slide deck, visually appealing, breaking up the information. And the next step is turning it into a lesson, right? So how can I use that article in a lesson for my students, focusing on a particular an idea of how I want the students to use that article. So for me, I use ChatGPT to help as my AI chatbot of choice. Let me know in the chat what AIs you like to use. That's okay. I'm going to move on anyways. But in order for me to work with ChatGPT, as we mentioned earlier, as you saw in the chat, prompting is key, right? The way you prompt your AI will determine the quality of the output, right? And so what I like to use in helping me craft my prompts is the prompt engineer framework. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with an amazing book by one of our hosts here, the AI classroom. This is my go-to book of choice for learning how to incorporate AI into my classroom, but it's got a great framework for how to craft a prompt for AI, and it's using the prep framework. So so you prompt it with a question, you give it the role, right? What is the role of what is the role you want it to take on? Okay, and then be explicit with your instructions. What are you looking for? You can ask it to come up and incorporate some activities, or give it essential questions that you want answered, and then giving it parameters. Okay, and so by doing that, you get a much better output with the quality of the response is much better. Sorry, am I doing okay, Christy? Sorry.
Oh yeah, just
Okay.
checking for wrap up.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'll start wrapping up. Okay, so prep framework. Sorry, go ahead, Christy.
Oh no, you got the show.
Okay, so there's a bigger picture. I have a link to the image in the book if you're really interested. It's my go-to. It's helped me a lot with my prompt crafting, getting better at creating prompts. And this is the prompt I use. So can you create a 40-minute lesson, right? Being specific. How long do I have? Based on this news article, telling it specifically what the article is about, what I want it to focus on, who it's for, what grade level, what are they studying, and then what do I want the lesson to do? So I want the lesson to help students understand the problems causing water shortages and for the students to determine possible solutions. And then I copied and pasted the article below. And then you can actually, there's a link to this actual chat on my website if you want to take a look at the response that ChatGPT gave me specifically. But then again, as I mentioned earlier, incorporating media literacy, right? You can use AI to help yourself as a teacher and your students discern fact from opinion and identify biases. And so what I actually did after the lesson was generated is I also asked it to analyze the article for potential biases and concerns. And it was able to give me, I think, 5 or 6 things to think about when reading the article. So I could actually take this and turn it into an even better lesson, helping my students understand these potential biases and concerns, and then incorporate that into my lesson design as well. Okay. So then I export, right, the PDF from Gamma, pull it into Curipod and Curify it. I think you've seen lots. If you've been tuning in all week, you've seen lots of examples of this. But you can pull that slide deck directly into Curipod, which you've already created, and then it'll do its best to come up with some great interactive experiences. But you could also craft your own manually as well. But it does a pretty good job of coming up with questions that I could pose to my class based on the information in the slides. I'm going to skip that. And yeah, I know we're out of time here, but again, if you visit the website there at technocation.com/headlines, my slide deck is linked up in there, as well as links to the chat GPT conversations, and links to gamma.app and the slide deck that it crafted for me. So all the examples I showed you are linked up there that you're welcome to explore on your own. And I'll stop there and say thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it, but I know we're behind, so I'll hand it back to Christy.
Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you.
There was so much great stuff. And as a social studies teacher, I'm all about the current events. So it was great to hear how you're using those in your room to empower your students. There's so many features that can be integrated into Curipod to make it an even more amazing tool. And I loved how you mentioned chunking. It's big for all of us. So I appreciate your pedagogy and all of the great ideas that you have given us. So thank you for your time. All right,
thank you, everyone, for joining in. I really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, I will see you all in the next session. We'll keep on moving.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Curicon, the future's outside.